Volkswagen Rally, round 5 of the Sasol South African Rally Championship, kicked off in Uitenhage from outside the car manufacturer's factory and new Auto Pavilion Museum. With this being the 21st running of the Volkswagen sponsored event, it was fitting to start the show from its premises. A healthy crowd turned out to view the cars, chat to the drivers and navigators, and take a peek at the historic cars in the pavilion. As always, the pre-start holding area also allowed the crews to...
So they're probably going to be difficult to beat, but it all makes for a nice mix, and I think, well, we're in for a good rally, I hope.
Yeah, the curse of the sponsor, event sponsor, has struck before. So it always tends to be very difficult for manufacturers to win their own rallies.
Volkswagen's been pretty good at this, though. They've won their rally for quite a few years. So I don't think there's any monkey on their back or anything. I think it's they're probably in with a very good chance of winning this one.
Yanni, going into your home event, so to speak, or your team's home event, fresh off a win and leading the championship, you must be pretty happy.
Yeah, it's, I think it's good to have a good buffer of points at this point in the championship. Yeah, as far as the event's concerned, it's a forest event. We like it. We've had a bit of rain, which means that dust is not going to be such a big problem. And yeah, everyone's expectations are high, including ours. So yeah, I think it feels good. The car feels good. The guys have once again found a couple of minute seconds in the speed, and I think we can use it. It'll pay off.
Gals sidelined by 2 punctures, which cost him probably third place, but probably second even. And he was right in the mix from the start, so I hope he's going to be there again. And then Kemal at some stage has got to get used to his car again. He had the Sasol, came off a big accident, maybe settled in Sasol, and this is the one to start going again.
Who else do you expect to be knocking on the door? Etienne Lawrence, Enzo Kuhn?
Certainly Enzo. Enzo was very, very quick in the first day of the Sasol. And in fact, if he never got penalized, he would have won the event anyway. So he's going to be there, and Etienne finished very strong in the Sasol. It took him a bit of time, but they're constantly working on the car, so I think at some stage he's going to be right up there with them as well.
Last event was a Sasol traditional forest rally. We're back in Longmore Forest this time. How do these forests differ to the Sasol event?
So knew it was going to be a sprint from the word go, and he was hard on it, perhaps too hard, making use of a handful of verge. It was not to be a good event for Serge's son Jean-Pierre and Kobus Frey in their team total Toyota Corolla. The Class A7 car's engine cried enough on stage 2, ending their rally. It was their first mechanical retirement of the year, although the pair also failed to score in the Cape Rally after being disqualified for using the incorrect tyre size in one of the car park stages. The stricken Toyota had to be helped along to the end of the stage. Jürgen Fecken and Dave Levkovitz were hoping for a finish in their new BP Volkswagen Polo. After winning their class in the opening 2 events of the year in their old player, the switch to the Polo had been beset with mechanical problems. The car has shown superb pace, but suffered gearbox and drive shaft failures in its first 2 events. A good result in Volkswagen's own event would provide a welcome boost to their championship hopes. Enzo Kuhn and Guy Hodgson were first on the road in their Class A8 BP Volkswagen Golf. The pair had looked set to win the Sasol Rally after dominating the first day, but a 1-minute penalty dropped them to second in the final results. They were second fastest in stage 1 and shared the win in stage 2 to lie just 1 second off the leader as the crews tackled the first gravel stage of the event. They would finish third fastest on this stage. After the disappointment of not finishing the Sasol Rally, Serge Damso and Robert Paisley were determined to get back to winning ways in their Class A8 Castrol Toyota Runex on this event. They won the first 3 rallies of the year to open up a healthy championship lead, but that was quickly lost with their Sasol retirement. With a point system allowing teams to drop 1 score, the pair knew that it could not afford another non-finish. This season sees the veteran chasing his 10th national championship title, all with Toyota. Damso set the equal fastest time in the opening 2 tests to lead the event by 1 second, but he was only 4th fastest on this stage, dropping him to equal second with Kuhn. Great on-board action from Jan Habich and Douglas Judd in the second Class A8 BP Volkswagen Golf. Fresh from their victory in the last round, which catapulted them into an 8-point championship lead, they were full of confidence and pushing hard. The pair was forced to retire from last year's event with engine failure in a torrid season, but the team had turned around its problems and they had finished every event this year. The reliability to go with a new shell imported from Germany before the start of the season has put Habich in a strong position to challenge for his 5th national championship title. Navigator Judd is after his 7th title with the pair in its 14th year of partnership, the longest in the championship. They blitzed this stage by 10 seconds over their closest rival to open up a 12-second lead. Etienne Lawrence and Andre Vermeulen have spent the season developing and familiarizing themselves with the Class A8 Team Total Toyota Run-X. The team bought the shell of Damso's championship-winning car for this season, but had to add its own mechanicals from its Class A7 car. It's taken Lawrence, who prepares his own car, a few events to get the Run-X to his liking, but he came on strongly in the Sasol Rally and expected to produce another solid performance this time round. Skalkberger and Vito Bonafide had enjoyed a strong start to the season in their Class N4 Bridgestone Subaru South Africa Impreza. Top finishes in every event saw them lying just 9 points off championship leader Habich and comfortable production car leaders going into the event. Class N4 rivals Johnny Gemmell and Greg Godrich were well behind Berger in the championship race after 2 non-finishes, but were determined to close the gap. Gemmell rolled his L&J plant hire Subaru into destruction while leading the Total Rally of South Africa, forcing him to purchase the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 7 from Fernando Rueda earlier in the year. The Sasol Rally was the pair's first outing in the Mitsubishi, and they used the event to familiarize themselves with the car. After a torrid season in 2003 that saw them fail to score a single point, they won their class in the opening event of the year, only to be struck by the 2 non-finishers. A solid score on the Sasol was a welcome change of fortune, but Gemmell was hoping to pick up the pace on this event and be in the fight for the overall lead. He would set the second quickest time on this stage. They were 4th overall. The event, Fecken was under no pressure, but he was still pushing hard for a good overall result. He was just 15 points behind Damso Jr. going into the event, and a good result could have seen him equal or even pass the Toyota driver's tally. Fresh from a strong top 10 result on the Sasol Rally, Stefan van Dijk and Mark Pym were confident of another strong finish in their house of Subaru Impreza. Van Dijk was highly rated early in his career before missing a number of years due to financial constraints, but was now back in competitive machinery. Pretoria's Fischer du Plessis and Tilo van Westenhagen had cured the electronic differential problems that had plagued their Metmeister, Outsure and Subaru Impreza in the previous few events. The problem was traced to a new differential ECU that the team had imported from England. Once the team reverted to the original ECU, the problem was cured. The old unit does not allow as much adjustment as the new one was intended to do, but at least it was working. The Diamond Broker had just finished 1 event all year, retiring from the last 2 events due to the ECU problem, and was reveling in the car going well. Stage 4 was run on the Aldo Scribante circuit, the cars circulating the circuit in reverse to the usual direction and using some of the pit area. The opening day of the Volkswagen Rally featured 5 spectator-friendly stages out of a total of 9, much to the dismay of many of the competitors who are not overly keen on this type of stage. Being a race facility meant that Aldo Scribante was better than the tight in-town stages, but competitors still had to mix speed with caution to avoid silly mistakes that could end a rally. Habich has no track racing experience to his name, but this does not usually hamper him on the tar stages. He was second fastest and maintained his overall lead. We let the footage do the talking.
Sweep right, too fast right.
This section through the pits and paddock proved tricky and would catch out a number of competitors.
Turn tight 90 right, 150. Turn tight 90 right, do not cut. Turn tight 90 right. And left, keep right and left.
Having raced Alphas, Fords and Toyotas on the track and notched up many victories and titles, Damso has many years of track racing experience under his belt and usually does well on these tar stages. This one was no exception as he won the 13-kilometer test by 7 seconds from Habich, closing the gap down to 5 seconds at the top of the leaderboard. Not everyone got it right though. Class A6 champion Craig Trott and John Costa came into this corner a little too hot in their team total Toyota Corolla and suffered a half spin. Fortunately it was harmless and they were quickly on their way again without too much time lost. Karth and Ferree would not realize their goal of a good finish. Their player had come to a halt and they were desperately searching for the problem on their laptop.
We seem to have an electrical problem. The car died on the last 90 right, and now we can't get it going. So I just want to have a look, see what's going on here.
You think that's your rally run?
It looks like it. I think probably about 10 or 15 minutes down the road already. So to get back on the road now is going to be pointless. But we'll see. If we can have some fun, we'll have some fun, but not today.
The course, as this time Chris de Wit and Patrick Yendi made a hash of it in their Class N2 Toyota Corolla. Fortunately, de Wit just managed to keep it out of the wall, but he lost about half a minute in this overshoot. De Wit and Yendi had experienced an unusually poor season thus far, finishing just 2 of the 4 events contested. Despite this, they maintained their class lead going into the event. Stage of leg 1 before the crews moved into the night stages. Habich had pipped Damso by 1 second on this short blast, but it was Gemmel who was fastest in the Mitsubishi. He was now 3rd overall, just 4 seconds ahead of Kuhn.
Johnny had a bit of a problem on the last event, but it seems to be going well today.
Yeah, there at the Nelspruit we had a damaged intercooler pipe which lost us a few horsepower and we didn't pick it up till after the event. We were struggling, but now we seem to be going all right down here.
Kuhn was still first on the road after the break as he headed out to the first stage in the famed Longmore Forests.